Good day, everyone. My name is Oladele, and I'm the Executive Director of the Africa Cancer Support Group. At the support group, we offer services to cancer survivors, cancer patients, caregivers, and their family members. We bridge the gap between the hospital and when the patient gets home. We also offer community awareness campaign for those that do not have cancer yet, so that there will be cancer prevention awareness in the community. Today, I have Dr. Samuel Oladele, who is a psychiatrist and a community leader. I also have Mr. Shehu Ogushola, my brother, and also a community leader. Both of them are actually former president of the Nigerian Canadian Association of Calgary. So I will start with Dr. Oladele. Please, could you introduce yourself briefly?
My name is Dr. Samuel Oladele. I am a psychiatrist practicing in Calgary, Alberta, and I've been in this province for the past 21 years, and also practiced across the globe, in Africa, in Europe as well. So I'm happy to be here today to contribute to this discussion.
Thank you, sir. My brother, could you introduce yourself, Proven?
Thank you. My name is Shehu Ogushola. I live in Calgary. I'm a financial consultant when it comes to dealing with businesses. And I've been in Calgary for 17 years and counting. Also, I'm a public speaker and a community leader. Looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you. As we all know that cancer is becoming an epidemic in the Black community. And both of you actually played the role when we were going through our journey. I must say thank you. I want to start with Dr. Oladele. As a psychiatrist, and you know the mental struggle that cancer patients go through, can you tell us how cancer patients or survivors can manipulate or can go through their mental journey while going through their treatments?
Yeah, thank you very much, the moderator, Yinka. Well, that's a good question to ask. That's what are the mental health implications of being diagnosed with cancer, or being a survivor, or being the relative of someone who has been diagnosed with cancer.
Thank you for putting it right.
So, you see, the journey begins with when the patient is diagnosed with cancer, and then being able to recognize what is actually going on, and I will relate it to our community. Yeah, because cancer most of the time doesn't really show immediate signs that something is wrong. You could be just like general thing. Maybe you're not feeling so well, you're feeling weak. Sometimes, depending on which part of the body the cancer is, may not be able to eat. You may just think it's flu. If you have a flu that is not going for a week, 2 weeks, you've been to your doctor, they gave the regular flu treatment, is not going, you need to look deeper. And really, we need to begin with being vigilant, being able to really be aware of that this is not just an ordinary thing. So knowing about cancer typically brings about what we call shock
Hmm.
to that person and the family. So it will first of all be a shock. So most of the time it will be like, it can't be me. Why should it be me? After the shock, the denial will follow. Is not possible. Maybe they mixed up this test.
Yes.
It's not my test, or all this kind of questioning. But when that phase is over,
Hmm.
you had a second opinion and it's still the same thing, then it will start to sink in. It depends on who is affected. If it's a man, typically being men, not just African men alone, who would try to hide it from our close ones, will say, well, maybe I can maneuver this one, and then don't want to stir up any panic in my people. But if he didn't go on time, then the wife, who is really vigilant, will know that my husband is not eating as he's supposed to be. My husband seems to be coiling in lately compared to the way he used to do. My husband has started to be a little bit short with the kids, or with the way he answers my questions. So those are the kind of subtle. We really, if we're looking for the hard evidence or hard symptoms, it might be too late.
Wow.
Before we get there. Number one thing is to be vigilant. Let us be keeper of ourselves. You know, husband, look after your wife. Wife, look after your husband. Know his routine, know her routine. Then if you started to see some deviation or a little bit of secrecy, a little bit of hiding, then you should know that something sinister may be going on.
Wow.
Like I said earlier on, there will be phases. People get shocked, people start to deny, then you start to get to the stage of acceptance that, okay, it has come. Now, when it is established, the diagnosis has been made, it's another issue. When this treatment starts, it comes with its own attendant problems.
Wow.
Which I'm very sure that the moderator is very aware of, and many of us, we are aware of what that entails, because there is a saying that a patient is a symptom of a diseased family, meaning that if someone is not doing well as a member of the family, it is the whole family that is sick.
That's true.
You know, I'll give a strict example. Let's say a housewife or mother in the house is cooking, accidentally cut herself very badly with a knife, kitchen knife. That meal for that evening is ruined, because what will happen is she has to go to the emergency, the husband has to follow, the kids are not at rest, so everybody is sick. Now, that's physically, but how about psychologically? So the psychological implication of cancer diagnosis goes a long way. It's something that we cannot finish.
Yeah, I know.
If we start on. But it's not just only depression. It could come in form of adjustment disorder. It could come in form of anger.
Yes.
It could come in form of someone as if the personality has changed. And so many ways it will manifest. And we all know, I don't know about you, any day that if I'm not in good terms with my wife, that will affect me when I get to work. Because that means everything that is on ground needs to be talked about. We need to talk.
Yes.
We need to dialogue. We need to bring it to open. That will lighten up the body.
Yes. Wow, thank you. And I will go from the last statement that we need to talk. Mr. Shehu Gushala, as a community leader, you have met with people. You are a banker, you have seen a lot of people. What do you think we can do with the stigma of cancer in our community?
Thank you. And I was listening to Dr. Oladele, the comments he was making and how he was developing his points and relating that to the experiences I've had. And it is real.
Mm.
In our community, unfortunately, I don't believe we're there yet when it comes to accepting the fact that cancer happens, and we need to accept and then confront and deal with it.
Yeah.
Secondly, we also need to understand that this has nothing to do with what you haven't done.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a reflection of your weakness. It is not a reflection of your gaps.
Mm-mm.
It is not a reflection of any area that you could have done a little better about. When we start to see it as this a consequence of what I have not done, then we start to blame ourselves, and then we start to keep it to ourselves because you feel that people are going to judge you.
Yes.
Now, those sort of things is a whole lot of education that needs to be done. People need to understand that, taking it from where Dr. Oladele stopped, as in being your brother's keeper of your own self, and do everything you can do. But if it happens that you get to that point where cancer has been diagnosed, then you need to seek professional help as soon as possible and get people around you. With the experiences, some unfortunate experiences we've had in our community, when I was the leader or when I was part of leadership, unfortunately, some people, we lost some people. And I'm sure many cases we're not even aware.
Yes.
And up to now, we're still going through some very traumatic situation. It could be easier on them if they can bring it up and just loud, publicly speak about it and get the support that is available. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that before we go to the place of judgment, or we should realize that it's not because of what people have not done. It is not that, okay, that's what they deserve. So it is just, unfortunately, a random occurrences that could happen to anybody. And when that happens, I have that, please speak up, raise your hands, get help.
Thank you. You know, the day that my husband was diagnosed, Dr. Oladele was my first. I placed a call to him, and I could not even say anything. He said, "Hello, Shelley, what is happening?" I said, they've just diagnosed the bio, but the word second opinion, I could not remember what it is called. I just said, no, we have to go again, maybe to another place. So you want second opinion? I said, yes, okay, I'll call you back. So where are you? So I think we're going to London Drugs to get medication. Then he called round to other doctors. And that is why I think when people are diagnosed, don't keep it to yourself. There are doctors in the community, there are people in the community that can help. He said, I will call you back. I think he called a few other doctors. I know he's a psychiatrist, but I know, let me just call him. He will know what to do. And he said, oh, my sister, you have to start the treatment. I'm like, no, I said, no, you have to start the treatment. And that's how we started the treatment. What am I saying? When people are diagnosed, the confusion is there. You are confused. You don't even know what to do. The person that they told that you have cancer, that person is like, you are dead already, like either physically, mentally, just name it. But the caregiver, if that caregiver is not strong, both the patient and the caregiver, they'll be in the confusion state. So I just want to say thank you to Dr. Oladele if I've not said it. Thank you, sir.
You said numerous times.
Now, as community leaders, we have buried numerous people in this in this, at least in the Nigerian
You
community.
know, before you, just following what you just said and what he said, and processing information here. Looking at the so many cases that we've seen, including your husband's case, you know how it feels when you have a plan. You have a career, you have a friend, you say, "Where I want to be in 2 years, in 3 years, I will become this, I will get a promotion, I have to get this and get that." You have it all worked out. And then you get a report that tells you that all that certainty you think you have
No, it's zero.
is out of the window. And guess what? You don't even know what your tomorrow is going to be.
No, not at all.
And culturally, from our culture, I think men and women will process that different. Men will see it as, I'm going to feel my responsibility.
Yes.
I will not be able to provide or support my family. And back to the mental, the psychology part that Oladele already talked about. It could take time before men start to work themselves out of that. Because they're not even they may not even be super worried about, let me deal with this. It's like, all the plans I have is out of the window. Where do I go from? And because in our community, we really love to be in control.
Yes.
And there's certain loss of control. And having to depend on everybody and anybody could take time before a man can work themselves out of that mentally. I'm not sure about a woman because I'm not a woman, but from a man's perspective, I'm just thinking about how will I process such information. The first thing I'm going to think of, really, wow, what's going to happen? My kids in university, that's what you're thinking. You immediately pass a death sentence on yourself.
Yes.
And they'll go straight to the dark place. So people surely need a whole lot of mental support at the initial stage to help them through that. Listen, I'm not necessarily a death sentence.
Yes.
And then how do we walk through it? The end point after that treatment may not be what you planned.
Yep.
Or again, back to what Dr. Laura said, that process you said, that process of shock,
The denial, the acceptance.
we may have to accept a different reality as we proceed. I just kind of think about that way.
Yeah, I just want to add to that based on my experience and the kind of people I see in my practice and the general thing is that for one reason or the other, it seems that women, they adapt very well. They do better in terms of adjusting and negotiating new realities. This is taking me back to being an immigrant myself and knowing what immigrants are going through. When couples, when they landed in this country, most of the time, I know that you people will know, women are able to settle down much quicker, settle for any job to get the family going. Whereas we see some of our men colleagues that they can't cope. Some of them, they end up with coming to
Like depression or something.
into depression, and they will need treatment, and they cannot quickly realize that they are no longer the general manager of wherever they are before they are in new reality. And again, they adjusting to the culture of being able to talk and about things. Women readily, they form a group, they go into having some maybe prayer groups, some women's group, things they do together. Men, we don't do that. We need to encourage our African men and that they have people. If they can't talk to their wife, they can talk to another man about this thing. There is no shame in discussing.
Wow, that takes me to this thing that, men don't like to go for medical checkup. Right? I was talking to a man, he said, oh, until maybe he's dead, that is when he can go. So what do you think? Or what can you say? Or what do you want to tell men to actually take care of themselves? When you get to a certain age, as a man, you need to do your PSA tests. You need to do certain tests. If you have mental something, maybe you are depressed or something, you need to reach out to counselors or psychologists for mental health checkup. So what can you, two of you, anyone can start?
Yeah, it's also boils down to the fact of educating ourselves about the reality of situation, that there is no shame in going for your regular, at least annual. But even if you have condition like diabetes or heart problems, or it's not just yearly anymore.
Yes.
Minimum 6 months.
6 months, yes.
You need to go and do checkup, and then your doctor will guide you. Look for a good family doctor that you can talk to readily, that you are not afraid of opening up to. And just like the moderator talked about PSA and many other things like fit test,
Yes,
what
fit
is
test,
fit
yes.
test for the colon cancer and all. They are not just there just for fun. I mean, no doctor or lab technician is interested in smelling the poo all the time, but it's for a purpose. And let us take the advantage of the country in which we are,
Yes.
and then make sure we use all the available resources to us in a good way. So I don't know if my
Thank you.
Mr. Bushola wants to.
Yes, I got to be frustrated when I was the president of Nigerian community here in Calgary, and we organized a program about men's health, just to educate men, and then we opened it up to men and their spouses, and the place was filled with women. The men didn't show up.
But you say spouses. So they represented.
They probably can't get
Man, wow.
Spouses was just to come and supporting message to know how to support or encourage their husbands. I guess what happened, I'm not saying as a matter of fact, but I guess what happened was the men told their wife, go and listen to it, come back and help them in some way. Because I was surprised.
Wow.
I hope that we have evolved past that. And I hope that the messages and the education that is being pumped out by the government, by the system, is catching up, and we are better than we used to be. That is all I can hope for. However, I know sometimes, men will have this idea that anytime you go to the doctor, you always come back with bad news. So I wasn't go. But well, we have to choose. Would you manage the bad news, or just deal with sudden death? Or deal with sudden situation and then push your entire family in a very, very precarious situation? I get that it is what it is. I was golfing with a friend yesterday, and he was going to get out of the golf cart and say, I have pain here. And he was going to come into the golf cart, I have some pain here. And he was going to hold the golf cart and this. I said, bros, you're getting old. So that is just the way it is.
Wow.
Got to realize that your body is not the way it was 20 years ago.
Wow. That's true.
And we need to accept that reality and deal with it. So how do we deal with it? By making sure that we're closer and closer to our doctors and get advice from those that know. Hopefully, we are listening. Hopefully, we're taking advantage of this wonderful country we're in, where the facilities have been provided, the support is there, both medically, psychologically, emotionally, everything is there. I can always say that we have no excuse.
Wow, thank you. Now I want to talk about, you are a banker or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Every cancer survivors or cancer patients go through financial problems. So what can we talk about the psychology of money when people are being diagnosed? The first thing that it hits is your savings. It doesn't matter whether you have insurance or not. Even when you have insurance, there are still some out-of-pocket expenses, and it really hits people hard. For somebody like me, it really hit. In fact, I was hit. My husband could not work. He has not even worked for how many years now. So that is one of the reasons why some people say, you know what, they don't want to get diagnosed. Let the doctor just find it when they find it. So what can we say about the psychology of money? How can the people be helped? Or what can we say to people either to save? You can't be saving for sickness. We all know that. So what can we do to help people? So I'll start with you, sir.
Well, I think Sheon will be able to answer this very well. However, I will contribute in whichever limited knowledge of finances that I have. Well, it depends on at what stage it hits. But generally, we need to start planning right from the get-go. It's not a waste of money to do insurance.
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes you just do. You never know that you will need it at any. I'll use a personal example. In 2018, I had some kind of a medical issue that took me off work for some time, and luckily I didn't have any big issue with things. But because of that condition, I was able to be excused from my insurance payment right from that go. I still have the insurance, but I don't need to pay the monthly premium that I need to be paying. And also because I have contributed some extra into the thing, they gave me a kind of lump sum of money at that point that it doesn't even make me feel that I lost everything until I was strong enough to go back to work. Yeah, one way or the other, we need to do some planning about it. However, if it's someone that just came into the country, this hit suddenly, and yes, it's good to think about money, but money is not all with this. What is more important is to really come out, let's know you have this issue, let it be diagnosed, and then you take a step at a time. In this country, there are lots of help out there. If you ask for it, you will see one thing or the other, and there are a lot of generous people around in terms of if you really get to a tight corner that would like to be of help. My advice is that not to hide your illness because you think, money will be an issue. It should be a secondary thing. The primary thing will be get diagnosed, get checked up, get diagnosed, and let people know the money will come.
Yes.
And from our culture, we always say that God will always provide what the mouth will eat.
Yes, so
You may not be able to go on expensive holidays anymore or do something, but there are still,
yes,
in order to really live for that moment, there will be support. So we should be rest assured. We should not allow the fear that the family will not be taken care of, I will not have anything there, therefore there is no need to be diagnosed. That's a bad decision.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Well, you know what, Dr. Oladele actually spoke like an financial expert. I will be adding to what he said.
Sure.
Not the other way around. Because it's easy to say save, save. You can only save if you have enough.
Yes.
If you don't have enough, you can't say. So let's talk about the reality of those that may not have enough, that maybe if you're just having sufficient to get by, there's nothing to save. But as you can plan for that insurance.
Yes.
You can plan for that insurance. Please explore all the insurance options. And as we get older, there are greater need for it.
Yes.
Now, if you are in the category of those that are really wealthy and insurance is not required, because it gets to a point of wealth that you have that you're not sure, except you start to use insurance as a financial plan tool. There may not really be a big deal. Then this message is not for you. But for those that know that if they're taking off work for 6 months, a year, it's going to cause serious financial headache for the family, you really want to be talking to your insurance advisor and get more about that. That's number one. Number two, in our culture, we are social animals. We all have our community of close friends, either church-based, either maybe mosque-based, either in a community association. You cannot fly solo in this place or in this life. And what do I say that? In an event, that unfortunate incident like cancer happens, you have to confide in somebody and say, listen, my biggest problem is we don't have the finances to support this. In our community, we've raised money, significant money, for people that really need it. But when you don't have anybody that can trust you to go to the community to say, we need help, then you've got to be one. So we want to make sure that while you're healthy, be part of the community. Invest in the community. Come out. Don't just think about yourself. Do something for somebody. Make somebody smile. Make somebody's lives better. Because you might just need it to come back to you one day. So that is what I'm going to recommend, that while you have the insurance, if you get to that point, if you invest into the community and people know you and they trust you, they know who you are. Our community, like Dr. Oladele said, they are quite generous. They will rise up to help, to support. Or if you keep it to yourself, you don't open up, nobody is going to show up at your house with a bag full of money. But if you say that we need help, this is where we're struggling, people will surprise you. That is just what I want to say about that insurance conversation. Please, if you haven't had it, I would recommend get up now and make that call to an insurance advisor.
Before we move on from that, I just want to add that I realized that Yinka's and Oladele's foundation, they're dealing with a lot of cancer issue. But I just want to add that it's not only cancer that could be very debilitating.
Yes.
Being in mental health, I know that there are some conditions that will, in fact, some people will say if it is cancer, they will understand that it's cancer. But with what they are going through, they can't not even, the pain, the psychological pain that is associated with that is as equal as that of cancer. What I'm saying here is that you don't need to wait to have cancer alone. If you need help due to any physical or psychological health issue that you require support, please come out. Talk to people. They will be out there to help. If you ask one person, if you cannot do it, the other person will know. Like as I am here, I'm a consultant psychiatrist. I don't know it all. I still mingle with my colleagues. I still ask questions. I still phone around. And my job is usually easy because once I ask one or two people, I get the direction I need to go. A good example is, let's say you're living in Edmonton and you you never heard about Calgary before, you go into Calgary Zoo, and then you just drive into Calgary, you'll be driving hours
Yes.
before you get to the zoo eventually. But if you are coming and you, as you are entering, you stop and ask someone, where is Calgary Zoo? They say, take right, take left. It's just 5 minutes away.
Wow.
You get there. But if you don't ask, if you don't talk about it, it may take forever or you may never get there.
Wow. Thank you. You talk about insurance. I think the easiest one that I can say is maybe the critical health insurance. Most people actually don't have that. Even ourselves, we didn't know we had it. So maybe if you have insurance or you don't know, please go and check whenever go and check your documents. So somebody that said, do you have critical health? I'm like, I don't know. Say, oh, go and check all your documents. Then we saw it. Then we called the insurance company. Say, oh, you should have called maybe 30 days. That was like a year. I'm like, you have to pay this one. No. So maybe you don't have critical health. Call insurance company. We have so many people that are new, that maybe they've been to Calgary just 6 months and they're diagnosed. In fact, they don't even have their footing yet. They don't have anything. We have different types of people in our group, but we are meeting people where they are. Before we close, once again, I'm here with Dr. Oladele and Mr. Shehu Ogmishola. And like I said earlier, both of you are community leaders. How can we penetrate into the community? How can we reach out to the community so that we can have maybe cancer prevention when people hear or know what they can do, so that we don't have death in our community again? When Dr. Oladele was the president, I know how many people we buried. I was in the executive. And even after that, we've buried so many. And that's just the Nigerian community. The African community here, they've buried so many. I was talking with somebody from East Africa. They buried over 10 people last year. And this year, they've buried over 5 people, like more than 5 people. So what can we do to reach out to our people, to have the campaign, the awareness? Go for screening. Health is free here. We came from a place where it's expensive, but it is free here. So what can we do? How can we reach out to people? So I'll start with you again, sir.
Thank you, Yinka. It boils down to education. We all have areas of influence. There are certain people that trust you that may not trust me. There's many people that will trust you that may not trust you. So we have to make it everybody's job. It's not for any particular person. It has to be all our jobs to make sure that we let people know that this is going on. We're wondering why are we having these lots of deaths, and probably because we are not aware before. Like back home, we just typically will hear that you ask for someone, they will say, oh, he died. Ask for another one, he died. But when you come here, many things happen. Apart from the picking it up, the diet change. We need to go back there too. When I was going through medical school, there are certain illnesses that we didn't even hear about, especially in terms of cancer. In Africa, it's almost non-existent. But as time went by, with importation of corned beef to Nigeria, sardine, anything, and every other thing, we started to have, like colon cancer and all those things were rare before because of the diet we're used to over there. But now there's no difference.
No difference.
It comes from China, it comes from anywhere. There are a lot of things that is in what we eat. Chemicals, preservatives, including the banana that you buy. I'm not going to mention any store, but typically they will bring the banana from wherever they bring it, green, all green. They store it in one place and they spray something on it.
That's all right.
The following day or the third day, everything will become yellow.
Wow.
Those are chemicals going into what we are eating. That's true. Additives, preservatives, and I would say I'm not a nutritionist, so this is a disclosure, but it's as close as possible to natural. Because all those things are part of what is increasing the prevalence. And it changes the chemical of your body. So sometimes we all have cancer cells in our body.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yes.
It's just waiting for something to happen to wake it up. It could be diet, it could be stress, it could be some anything. So pay attention. Like what my friend here said, that you call men's meeting is only women that shows up. Well, maybe what we should be doing is that when it's for women, call it couples. When it's for men, call it couples. Invite everybody at all times. Because what we eat at home as men, most of the time, being African, is prepared by women.
By women.
And in some home, it's men that prepares the food that determines what they buy from the market. So we should orientate ourselves to seeing everybody as a unit, not separating too much, although it's men cancer we're talking about, but it's couple that we want to come to this, because that's the way we can help each other. And back to the area of influence, like please, if we talk to our children and we talk to our friend, and then let them know, and this is part of the awareness that we're doing today. We don't know how many people this podcast will touch, and it's part of it. If you're in Nigeria, if you're an African, you listen to this, if it gets to you, it's telling you something that you need to do something about. It's call to action for all of us.
Wow. Thank you, sir. So mashallah.
Yeah, let me try to remember your questions. I was so much enjoying his response. So what can we do to benefit that community? I think we need to tell stories. We need to bring those actually have been through this journey to come and tell their stories. Let's bring it to life. And sometimes, as long as it's not me, nobody feels that, I'm going to pray it's going to be for someone else. Well, I hope it works that way, but it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I've read my Bible over and over again. I haven't seen anywhere that says that if you pray hard, then there'll be a student for troubles and tribulations.
So,
In fact, you could attract more.
yeah.
So, but then we need to understand how to deal with it. I think we need to tell stories. Those that have passed through, those that are passing through, let's find a platform for them to tell their stories. And tell their stories and talk to people. You can't argue with them because that is their story.
Wow.
And I can't tell their story for them. So I'm going to encourage the Oladele Foundation to find a platform for these folks to tell their story.
Wow. Thank you.
And people hopefully will listen.
Wow. Well, I'm going to take you up on that, like having a platform for people to tell their stories. You know, there is a program every year, which we started last year. We actually joined the organization last year. It's called the National Cancer Survivor Day. It's usually the first weekend in June. So this year we are having it on June 3rd, and it's going to be an annual event. So viewers, if you are listening to us or watching us, once again, my name is Oladele, and I'm with the African Cancer Support Group. We've been having conversation with Dr. Samuel Oluwadele and Mr. Shehu Bushola. This program is brought to you by viewers like you, by sponsors like you. Please support us. Our website is africancancer.ca, and the email is info@african.ca. You get your tax receipt right away. We need you to partner with us. We need you to donate so that we can continue to support cancer patients, cancer survivors, caregivers, and their families. The support we offer is unique. We bridge the gap between the hospital and the patients when they get home. We don't just offer education or awareness. We actually help them some of the things that they do not get from the hospital. So please support us. And before we go, Mr. Shehu Bushola, you said we should have a platform. So how can you help us in that platform?
Well, I don't know yet. God will find it.
Good.
You know, you set a goal, we start to find a way. There is a way.
Okay.
There is always.
Okay.
But I think the first thing is the individuals we're talking about have to be comfortable sharing their story. Because again, back to our community, the stigma, sometimes people I don't want people to know. Are they comfortable sharing their story? And how much are they willing to share? And that is something we now to find a way to capture and to project.
Good.
We will find a way, but I think you have to start with the people that you're dealing with right now. Let them know that would you be willing to tell your story if the time comes? If they say, yes, I am, they will have to create a platform and go from there. Now, I'm going to say this, and I know that hopefully the website for the Oladele Foundation is on the screen as I speak. And I'm going to ask that please go into that website and see a whole lot that they do. It's still a work in progress. There's a whole lot being done. And I can tell you right now, they have a partner program. And please sign up to be a partner to this organization. If you live in Canada, you will get a tax receipt. If you do not live in Canada, consider it as paying it forward to serve for somebody. This is beyond what government is going to do. We all have a role to play. We're counting on you to help. I'm going to do my best. Dr. Oluwadele will do his best. We also want you to do your best. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Dr. Oluwadele, do you have any last word?
Well, my last word is to say that I am in complete agreement with what Mr. Shehu Bushola said, that we are here to help, to give hand. So to let people know that they are not alone. We are all in this together. And if we do it together, it will be much easier. And like my colleague here says, be part of the journey. Support the group. It may not be for you. It may be for someone you know. So do it and you will not regret.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate you. Thank you. And once again, the website is africancancer.ca. Thank you so much, and God bless you.